Hey everyone, Natalie Pigeon here with BoomTown Peer Coaching. Today I want to talk about something important. It has to do with BoomTown a little, but I think there needs to be clarity around this. And that is expectations of closings between your Met database and your on-Met database. Now, there's a lot of confusion between your Mets and your on-Met, so I'm going to go through what Met means. Met means your past clients, maybe potential people you have had an appointment with, but they're holding off another year for selling, or same thing for buying. It's your SOI, it's your friends, family, it's potential vendors that really know, love, and trust you. Basically anybody you've met face to face and you've built rapport with. So that's your Met database. Then you have your on-Met database. And I like to say that's pretty much your leads. So those are the leads that you are putting into your database, your BoomTown, and they can come from various sources. They can be in various categories, but it's going to be your Facebook leads, potentially your Google leads, your direct leads, your organic traffic leads, your realtor leads, your Zillow, Stately, all the lead sources that are out there. So we have Mets and your on-Mets. Now, what is the expectation of closings between the two? They say that 8 out of 100 leads for your Mets, you should expect to help buy or sell in a year if you're reaching out to them enough. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to take the approach of on average, key phrase, on average, 3 times per month. So let's just paint a picture for that. If you have somebody like a seller lead that maybe you went on a listing appointment with, and for whatever reasons the numbers didn't work out and they wanted to wait another year, you would still want to try to reach out to them on average 3 times a month. Now, if you're hosting like a client event or some sort of event, you may end up reaching out to them 5 times. Email, invitation, mailer invitation, a couple phone calls, 1 text. So that may take 5 touches per se right then and there. So that's why I use on average. But on average, 3 times a month. So think of this. Think of like the seller alert. That's 1 touch every month, potentially 2 times. Phone calls, maybe every other month. Especially during the holidays, it's really easy to make that phone call. Text message, emails, mailers, handwritten notes, market updates, neighborhood reports, plus events, plus pop-bys. There's so many ways that you could essentially reach out to somebody that's in your Met database, on average 33 times a year. Now, there's certain people that I know now, especially that there's new competition in the market called Zillow and big name companies like that are trying to take part of the market share. You're in a relationship business, so you almost have to double down on staying in front of your leads. And way to use tech would be retargeting them on Facebook, potentially adding them as friend on your social media, so interacting them that way. But they say that you should be to get the same 8 out of 100. Some people say 100 touches, but of course they're incorporating some sort of automation in that, or retargeting, things like that. So that is what you can expect out of 100 leads to get 8 closings out of 100 leads with your Met database. Hopefully that makes sense. Now we have your on-Met database. Those are your leads. And according to the Red Book, and I would say some of my own experiences, so the Red Book says out of every 50 leads, you can expect 1 closing. Now, I would say the industry average for online lead conversion is 1 to 2%. And that's going to be, again, not like the new Zillow lead that's just handing it over to you. I wouldn't incorporate necessarily that as like you converted that lead. They converted that lead, which is why you have to pay them a referral fee. But your middle of the funnel leads. So maybe the nurture leads that they send over, potentially your Google leads, things like that. So from that, in the red book, and that was written a while back, they say 1 out of 50 you should close. I would say that if you're doing a good job, and mind you, when they say 1 out of 50, that means you're engaging with them on average once a month. So keep that in mind. I would say that is probably on average what real estate agents do, engage on average once a month, which probably makes sense why they're only converting 1 to 2%. But there's plenty of people out there that are converting 6+%. But guess what? They are touching their database way more than once a month. So the bottom line here is whether you want to increase the conversions on your METs versus your on-METs, either way you look at it, you need to increase the amount of times you engage with that lead every month. And you may think to yourself, well, Natalie, how do I do that? And I'm going to say, well, think about holidays. Especially during the holiday season, you can easily hit them up between November and December, probably easily 5 times in each of those months. So think of it this way. You could verify their mailing address. Again, that's a touch. So they know you're going to send them something, and then you are sending them something, and then you're calling them and seeing how Thanksgiving went, or maybe they didn't respond to your text message, so you're calling them. You have your system alerts for whether they're buying or they're selling. You have social media, retargeting, I highly recommend. You could create a separate group on your social media and really post or engage with them that way. There's so many ways that you can really reach people these days. And just between the holidays, it's probably easy 10 times right there out of 33 plus. So you can throw events, and if you throw a proper event, you easily have to probably reach out 5 times just to make sure that they're aware of the invitation, that they're aware of the invite, and you're hitting them several different ways during that process. You can stop by their house and drop off a Popeye in the spring, like a little flower plant. There's so many different things that you can do. I still think this is funny. I love my sports magnets, and I think it's still a good idea because people love the schedules, easy to find. I mean, maybe some people throw it in the trash, but me personally, I like it. Or even if it's on a postcard, something, whatever, it's still a touch, it's a mailer, right? And everybody just gets mail these days, or bills these days in the mailer, or junk. So they might actually appreciate something like that. Or you can create content around like festivals in your community, things like that. So, or the best light festivals during the holidays, that's an idea. Best places for the fireworks around 4th of July. So many different things to think of to stay engaged with your Met database. Now, in that same process, you could probably use some of the same content for your on-Met database, right? So when people say, well, they asked me not to call them back for a few months, and we're around the holidays, or you're providing them something of value of like the best places to watch the fireworks in your community, if somebody is that much of a Scrooge to be angry because you sent them something, then they probably weren't going to be a good person for you to work with to start. So just think about some of these things What is my met database? What is my unmet database? How am I truly nurturing them? And if I'm nurturing them well, I'm definitely going to be above average on my conversion rates, which means I'm going to get more money out of the same 100 leads than other people or other agents that are just doing the average steps. So I hope this video helps, because I think there's a lot of lost opportunity in both. But as you know, your met database is something that produces way more fruit if nurtured correctly than your unmet. So keep that in mind when you're following up with your leads. Maybe not everybody gets the exact same communication method, depending on where they are in your pipeline, whether they're met or an unmet. Again, Natalie Pigeon with BoomTown Peer Coaching. Hope this information helps you. And go ahead, subscribe to my channel if you do find this beneficial. Thank you. Happy holidays.